Well, according to dictionary.com, the word normal, and I quote, means to conform to the standard or the common type, the usual, not abnormal, regular, or natural. But we're not worried about that definition. Up until this point, my concept of normal was conforming, coloring within the lines, and not being unique. That all changed until one normal school day where I was having a little debate with a peer of mine, and the topic was the definition of being normal. I started out with a claim saying that if everyone's different and unique, they are therefore abnormal. Now, as intelligent and insightful this person was, he asked the philosophical question that I'm begging you guys to ask yourselves today. What does it mean to be normal? Well, my answer, it meant being molded into whatever norms that society puts you, like assigned to you as a person based on your personality, where you come from, etc., etc. His rebuttal, which completely contorted and changed my concept of what normal was that he told me that if the point of being human is to be unique and different in your own way, then being unique and different would be the new normal. Just think about that real quick. That would be the new normal. Now, we all hear the common phrase, be yourself. It's said to people young and old, people of all ages. And it's especially said to people who lose sight of who they are, like lose sight of their own identity. They try to turn themselves into a person that they're not. And like I said, I want you to let this marinate in your head really quick. Now, the possibility that being different from others actually makes you similar to them. The possibility that in order to be unique and different, you have to be considered normal. It's a mind flop, isn't it? Some of you guys aren't showing any emotion, which is all right. That's good. But if you're thinking about how confusing that sounds, I've had that same effect when I was told this. And a great way to think about it, if you don't understand what I'm saying, who in here has seen the movie The Incredibles? Oh, yeah, Disney movie fans. Do you remember that part when Syndrome was saying his plot to Mr. Incredible, and he said, if everybody is super, nobody's super? That's literally what I'm trying to convey to you today. That's what that peer tried to convey to me that day. And it stayed with me for a long time. I've been thinking about it for a lot. We live in a society where there are so many boxes and labels and categories that can be very difficult to find out who you are as a person, to find your own individual identity. Oh, you guys can hear me? Because the mic is kind of on. Okay. Now, I asked you to keep your eye on the prize and finding your own unique identity, because there are some things out there that can put you on a dark path internally that will turn you into a person that you are not. And at some points in my life, in my childhood, I went down those paths also. And I would actually like to share with a personal experience. I call this story the nerd story. As a child, before I moved here, I lived in Hartford, and I went to the Hartford Public School District, all that type of stuff. And I knew a lot more than a lot of the other kids there. And I was always hassled for it and bullied for it. I was called a nerd, and I was always made fun of. And I'd always act out, and I'd always get into fights because people would call me nerd. And I'd always get suspended. My mom would kill me. She'd be like, why are you doing that? You can't hit people just because they call you names and all that. And it never stuck with me. Then this one time, it happened again, where I smacked this kid in the face because he called me a nerd, and I went down to the vice principal's office, and she sat me down and gave me the usual routine. She sat me down, had me wait there, but this time, she looked at me in my eyes, and she told me words that would stay with me even to this day, that instead of complaining and getting mad and insulted when somebody called you a nerd, you should be complimented by it, because being a nerd is being associated with someone who has intelligence, who's smart. It should be a compliment to you. And after that, that's what I took it as. That was the end of the nerd story for me as a kid. But as I started to grow up, the nerd story kept being reopened and closed again and again, and being called a nerd was associated with being called white, as if being smart means you can't be black. And I know some people deal with that. So that's what a lot of my life has been up to now, that I can't be black because I have knowledge. I can't be black because I'm intelligent. I can't be black because I don't speak the dialect that a black person speaks. Like stereotypes like that. And we all know stereotypes, like Asians are supposed to be good at math and grow up to be doctors and stuff like that. And the only thing people of color are good at are sports, rap, and crime. So I just challenge you to break those barriers. Finding happiness and success are very important in life, but they also fall under the similarities we all share as human beings. No matter who you are as a person, you could be the most depressed person on earth to the luckiest man on the planet. You share one commonality, and that is the search for happiness. You want to be happy no matter what. But the big difference between that is what we do to find, like the process we take to find the happiness and what that happiness is. Same thing with success. We all want to be successful. I cannot find one person, not even in this room, but like out in the world that says, I don't want to be successful, because you never hear that. That just doesn't make sense. So it's just important. It's just important to find your own individual identity, because without it, our ideas wouldn't exist, and we'd all be robots on a track, and that's not fun. That's boring. So just be who you want to be and not what society expects you to be. Now, I'd like to close with something that my Latin teacher, now retired Mr. Pfeiffer, love that guy to death, what he told our class one day. We were sitting down in class, and he likes to tell these stories, these narratives that have some sort of value to them. And he gave us the top 3 things that people who are about to die say. Okay, so number 1, I wish I had prayed more to my God. Usually people that are religious would say that because they don't think they've prayed enough, and that whatever's coming to them is because they haven't prayed. Number 2, I wish I had told my parents/spouse that I love them. They haven't been telling whoever they love that they love them, even though they know what they mean, but they just don't say it. It's not verbal. And number 3, I've divided this into 2 subscripts. So number 3A, I wish I had done more with my life, and 3B, I wish I had more time. Those are the top 3 things people who are about to die say. You will never find a dying person wishing that they could fit into society more, or wishing that they had been more popular in high school. You'll never find that. You'll just find people who would wish they'd discovered themselves more or explored who they are more. That's what you find. And I guess to answer the question to the theme, what does it mean to be human? To me, it means being unique, finding out who you are, and sharing that with the world. And I'd like to leave you with that question I asked in the beginning. What do you think it means to be normal after hearing this, if your answer changes or not? Thank you.